National Late Edition. Good evening. Thanks for being with us. Heavy fighting continues in Croatia as the Yugoslav army attempts to break the blockade of its garrisons in the breakaway republic. Dozens of tanks which left Belgrade yesterday are believed to be preparing for a major attack on two towns still holding out in the escalating civil war. ABC correspondent Max Utrich reports.
They were a menacing sight, but obviously not to the thousands who flocked to farewell them from Belgrade. Signpost said Zagreb, but no one really knows where they were headed. In the convoy, hundreds of tanks and armoured personnel carriers, field guns and rocket launchers, and thousands of troops. It's thought at least part of it veered off the Zagreb highway towards eastern Croatia, perhaps to relieve the army's besieged bases there. Airstrikes have helped the defenders of federal bases in Vukovar, a town that's taken the brunt of this civil war. In contrast, a mixed message of guns and roses at the surrounded Tito barracks in Zagreb itself. This is the largest federal base in Croatia. Its many war machines sit ready for mobilisation, and a careful watch is kept on possible Croat attack positions.
At least 28 people who bought fake Australian citizenship certificates have been arrested as illegal migrants. They're believed to be part of a larger group, mostly Fijian Indians, who've paid up to 30,000 Australian dollars to a Sydney-based group. As Edwina Gatenby reports, police have also swooped on an alleged $1 million counterfeiting racket in the central west of New South Wales.
Police are still unsure whether any counterfeit bills made it into circulation. They seized $1.5 million worth of US $50 notes and the equipment used to print them at a commercial printing business in the small central New South Wales town of Warren.
And they're actually negatives which help produce these plates here, which in turn the sheets of notes are actually printed from.
All these notes needed was the finishing touch, the serial numbers.
To the untrained eye, they probably would have been very good.
In another forgery case, 28 Fijian nationals have been detained after federal police uncovered counterfeit citizenship certificates used to obtain Australian passports.
We further believe that 50 Australian passports have been issued on the basis of the citizenship certificates.
Although now classified as illegal immigrants, the Fijians allegedly believe the documents they were buying were real. Some paid up to $30,000 for the fakes.
These people probably just have tried all of the means to stay in the country and have been unable to do so. Could try this possibly as a last-ditch attempt to stay here.
Police believe they know who's behind the scam and are close to making an arrest. In the meantime, the Fijians are being dealt with on a case-by-case basis. Some will be able to stay to act as witnesses for the prosecution. Others will have three options: to leave voluntarily, to make a further application to stay, or else face deportation. Police believe they will round up the rest of the fake documents in the next few weeks.
7 months after first announcing an important incentive for business investment, the government's still struggling with the details. Bob Hawke promised new tax concessions for business in the March statement, but they're still not in operation despite a slump in investment. Now, he says Treasurer John Kerrin's been given the job of giving life to the undertaking.
Bob Hawke has no doubt economic recovery is underway. Last night he told 700 businessmen and women just how sure he is, listing upswings in a range of indicators. But there was one glaring omission: business investment in new plant and machinery, where there's anything but an upswing. This is how business sees it.
In a word, disastrous.
The government promised action to help business investment in its March industry statement 7 months ago. New simplified rules governing tax concessions for the depreciation of plant and equipment. But it turned out to be anything but simple, as the Prime Minister concedes.
The technical complexities of this change have caused it to take longer than we would have liked.
That's one of the fiascos of 1991, frankly, because that's now 7 months ago, almost 7 months ago, and despite the fanfare that accompanied the March statement, business still doesn't know what the depreciation rules are as a result of the statement.
Mr Hawke now says Treasurer John Kerrin has been put on the case, and he'll be releasing the long-awaited details very soon.
In finance news, Australian security company Main Nicholas has announced a $110 million takeover bid for the UK freight group Interlink Express. Australia's biggest company, BHP, today reported a 42% quarterly profit dive. Its after-tax profit for the 3 months to September was $232 million, compared with $398 million for the same time last year. The share market anticipated the report, and the company's shares rose 10 cents. News Corporation gained 40 cents, and the Commonwealth Trading Bank added 6. The overall indicator was up almost 5 points, but the dollar closed steady on the day. The federal court has opened the way for a summons to be served on Christopher Skase to force him back from Spain. The trustees of the Skase estate want him to answer questions on his financial affairs. Justice Pincus ruled a summons could be served on Brisbane solicitors acting for Skase. If he doesn't comply with the summons, he could be held in contempt of court, and warrants could then be issued to force him to return. Mr. Skase would be required to appear in Brisbane sometime next month. It's said to afflict millions of people the world over, but there's lingering doubt about whether chronic fatigue syndrome really exists. From America, the very latest on so-called yuppie flu.
Melinda Harris of San Francisco is one of millions of people around the world suffering chronic fatigue syndrome, an array of symptoms that include severe exhaustion.
I couldn't sit up in bed. I couldn't clench my fist. I couldn't hold a pencil. I had to crawl to get to the bathroom.
The syndrome was first noticed in 1984 among a group of people in Lake Tahoe on the California-Nevada border. Because most sufferers are in their 30s, it's been dubbed yuppie flu. The symptoms are vague, and many doctors believe the real problem is hypochondria. But today, Dr. Jay Levy of the University of California, San Francisco, reported that people with the syndrome have an imbalance in their immune system.
We think that probably a virus has entered, and these individuals are having a difficult time in fighting off the virus.
Doctors haven't found a specific virus, but word of a possible physical basis for the disease is good news for people like David Brewster. He was a marketing director for a large firm. Now he's too weak to work and is unable to stand up simply to load the dishwasher.
And if a Darwin inventor has his way, people confined to wheelchairs may soon have a new type of recreational vehicle to enjoy the outdoors. Kevin Dolman reports.
The inventor says it's a relatively simple concept, a combination of an industrial wheelbarrow and an electric wheelchair. But for Pam Brooks, it's given her life new horizons. Today's test drive was the first time she'd been on the beach since 1966.
It's terrific. It's really great. It's freedom. I've never been anywhere like this, so... No, I'm just going to find out where I can go.
It's powered by a 4-horsepower petrol motor, has 2 forward gears and reverse. The inventor says he chose a petrol motor because people in the outback can maintain the engines.
It's good for the beach, it's good for the communities. It's good to put quadriplegics on because it's such a low base. We can put a recline chair on there and they can even have a go at driving it.
The all-terrain wheelchair was built by technicians at the Royal Darwin Hospital. Their project, funded by the federal and territory governments, aims to develop a whole new range of mobility equipment for various terrains and for people with different disabilities.
What we're trying to do is produce a range of bush wheelchairs that are going to suit the needs of most of the people out in rural communities.
The new wheelchair will cost about $4,000. But before other disabled people can explore the world like Pam Brooks, a manufacturer has to be found.
It's a clever idea. Now the national weather for the start of the weekend for you. Showers are forecast for Melbourne, for Hobart and for Adelaide. It should be mainly fine in Canberra, also fine in Sydney and the other capital cities. Now, just before we leave you, a look at the America's Cup hopeful launched in Sydney today. Challenge Australia is one of 2 Australian contenders for the next Cup series in May. While she might look like a 12-metre, Challenge Australia is the first America's Cup class yacht built in this country. She's bigger, lighter and faster than any former contender. Under the watchful eye of veteran Sid Fisher, the yacht berthed for the first time at its home, the Sydney Yacht Squadron. Since Australia's win in '83, security has been just as vital as having a revolutionary keel. But Challenge Australia also has the benefit of tradition. The crew will get to know the new boat on Sydney Harbour over the next few weeks before heading for San Diego. And that's it from the National Newsroom for now. Until next week, from me, Clive, Hale, good night. Do have a happy weekend.